Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Five Marks Podcast. And again, this is not like a normal episode. We got another interview. Let's go!
So, really.
No. But as always, there's no Emmett, there's no Kevin, there's no Chicken. It's my lovely dance partner here, Mr. Carmo.
Mark number 3, it's myself, Carmo. How are you doing, everybody?
Yeah, I couldn't remember your number. But as we said today, we've managed to get someone else to come on and have a chat about wrestling with us. He's one of OTT's rising stars right now, and honest to God, one of the most unique characters we have in Irish wrestling today. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the Sem.
Oh my God! This introduction made me feel very woozy. Thank you for having me here, lads. I really appreciate that. Oh my God, I'm a rising star.
No, absolutely. No, thank you for because obviously we put up the list of people we would love to have on. Now we all kind of sat down. It's like, all right, everyone put in one thing. My one was actually you. I actually wanted to have you on so badly. I even I was hoping to have you on before Christmas, but obviously just
before Christmas I would have said no. Okay, no.
I was too busy preparing for Santa Claus.
Yes, I actually was. It was crazy. I love that.
Trying to get rid of the Grinch.
Huh?
Trying to get rid of the Grinch.
Oh yeah.
And Santa
Claus. I swear on this? Can I swear on this?
Absolutely.
Fuck the Grinch. I like the
Grinch. But Mr. Sem, thank you for coming on. As I said, I'll start things off the way we started off our podcast, and we start every interview with this question. So obviously you have to be a wrestling fan. What is your first introduction to wrestling? What's your first wrestling memory?
Oh, my first wrestling memory. I think it was 2003 or 4 SmackDown. And that's when I fell in love with wrestling. I used to watch wrestling with my dad and my brother every now and then. And I think that's the first real memory. I think it's 2004. I think I can remember vividly Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero is probably the first person that inspired something that I was like, oh, I really love this guy. And then, yeah, that's the main one. That's the main one. I think SmackDown 2004, but I can't pinpoint specifically one exact memory. I just remember the aura of Eddie Guerrero. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not even a bad memory. I'm just happy. I'm not the only person whose first memory comes from 04, 03. Thank God. All these guys is like, oh yeah, the Attitude Era. And I'm just like, yeah, No Mercy 2004. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I love that that era. I'm actually watching on the network now all of that era and just swimming in my memories because it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I used to be a big Rey Mysterio fan as well. I have my big brother, and he used to every year for my birthday or Christmas, I was the easy present to make because all I needed was a Rey Mysterio action figure or mask, and I was happy. So that tells you how my wrestling love started.
Well, that's the easiest thing for people because I'm the same. So people are like, which one for Christmas? And I'm just like, make it wrestling related, make it this, and I'm happy.
Yes, please. Exaggerate.
But as you said, 2004, your first memory. So Eddie Guerrero, is Eddie Guerrero one of your favorites of all time, or?
Yes. So my taste in wrestling changes so fast with time, and it's still changing up to this day. If you talk to me in a month, I may be, okay, the wrestler that was my favorite last week, it's different. I'm like this. I change a lot. I could mention a few names at the top of my head that inspired me in some way or another, or gave me, that little something, or people that I was just really excited to watch. I think my favorite wrestler of all time may be The Undertaker. I love The Undertaker. I've always loved The Undertaker. I'm from Italy. And in Italy, in SmackDown 2005-06 or so, Undertaker was massive. So, it's a huge name. Love The Undertaker. I I used to love Chris Benoit. I can't mention him anymore. I'm sorry, but as a wrestler, I always appreciated Chris Benoit. I always loved Edge. I used to love his character. I used to love JBL's character work.
Oh, come on,
Yeah, he
who
was
doesn't love
brilliant.
JBL?
So
Yeah.
I could literally speak for hours about all of these names. Well, yeah, I just feel like I don't have one specific wrestler I could look at and be like, yeah, that's my favorite. I what I like about wrestling is kind of like the eras and the auras, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it
Like
does.
the magic of certain moments, you know, thinking about, okay, I can pinpoint, like, for example, TNA 2005. I don't have a favorite one, but the roster was good. The product, I liked the product. I got into it because there were the Christopher Daniels, the Samoa Joe, the AJ Styles, the whole X division. I used to, for some reason, the first memory I have of TNA is LAX, their entrance from like the
From the
the
crowd,
Latino
yeah.
area
Very
and whatever.
class.
I was like 6, 7 years old, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Who are they? Look at the ring, and you know, it's. I think it's more about that than about having like a favorite wrestler,
Yeah.
100%.
in my
100%.
opinion.
I don't know if you could tell. You talked about TNA and I can't pinpoint there, but I don't know if you could tell, like, just a room surrounded with AJ Styles, which TNA wrestler was my favorite. You know.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, I just loved, for some reason, I don't know, it was different from WWE. And I don't know, it just excited the idea that there was more to WWE. There was more, a different product, a different ring, different people that I didn't know. And I was like, oh, that's really exciting. And it's then that I discovered like more about wrestling, and it started growing on me more and more because I saw different sides of wrestling. I used to love Shark Boy. This is so random. I always tell
How
people.
how good was he though? It was such a good, like, random ass
I
character.
used to absolutely love Shark Boy, and still up to this day, I think it's a funny character. It's something, I don't know. It was funny for me in my little brain. I was like, yes, Shark Boy, money.
And I suppose then from actually going to watching wrestling on TV and watching like WWE, TNA, and so on and so forth, to actually being at your first live wrestling show. Like, do you remember your first live wrestling show and kind of some of the people that were at it?
My first wrestling show,
Yeah.
the first wrestling show I attended.
Yeah.
Well, actually, funny story is that my first wrestling show I attended was when I was part of the ring crew for OTT. That's weird, but
What?
yeah. I'm from the south of Italy, and it wasn't very common for WWE or any other wrestling promotion really to come where I'm from. And growing up, I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford a big travel or, you know, just to go where the WWE came. So I've always watched it on TV. And then once I started training for OTT, one of the first things I wanted to do was just to come at a wrestling show. So I just asked around, and Joe Cabray that day was there. I asked him, hey, can I give a hand as a ring crew? Or I don't know how it works, but I really want to watch a show. And that show turned out to be the Martina Goth party show, the Ryan what was it? Yeah, it was his tribute.
Yeah.
It was his tribute, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember I started crying at the end of the show, but it was more it was when Osprey did the whole speech. And I'm very close to mental health topics, and you know, I'm very close to that thing specifically. And it was just such a moment for me, like great wrestling show, great names, great atmosphere. It was the first show of OTT back in Dublin, and I was like, oh my god, I really want to do this in my life. Like it was crazy. It was a crazy atmosphere. And actually, the first match I ever saw live was Be Cool and Jay against Club Tropicana. That was great.
It's a good tag team match to be your first
Oh
match.
my god,
100%.
I was hooked. I was hooked. It was just crazy. A great. I don't know. I love the story. I was just that day. Maybe after doing wrestling for a bit, your mentality changes a bit. Like you start seeing other things in wrestling. But that night, I was just so hooked. It was just so cool. The atmosphere and whatever. It was something like I've never witnessed before, and it just. If until that day I wasn't fully sure if this is my career, that day I was like, oh yes, yes, that's gonna be my career. I hope
That's it.
so.
But like, so you're saying you said you're from the south of Italy. At what point did you come over, see OTT, and like go, I want to be a wrestler. I'm gonna do
Okay,
this.
this is a funny story. So I I when I was in Italy, I texted random people that were in the wrestling business. And I used to text them. I was this like 11 years old kid. I would just text them and be like, hey, you, do you know where I can do wrestling? Yeah, you gotta come here. But that's very far away. Is there anywhere closer? No. Okay, bye, thank you. I'm gonna be a wrestler someday, I promise. And but nothing like there weren't many schools close to me. So come 2019, I got a job offer, just a different job offer. It was in a restaurant, and I was kind of like already wanting to leave Italy because if I didn't do wrestling, I wanted to do something regarding just entertainment in general, which could be video making, music, whatever, photography, editing. I don't care. I just want to be in creativity in some way. So come 2019, I have to decide where to go. I knew that Ireland had OTT. I knew that big names were coming to wrestle in Ireland. So I'm like, okay, 1+1. I'm going to Ireland. I'm getting hooked. Like I'm getting linked to OTT. Just the time to come here to kind of get used to everything. COVID happens. Fuck. So during COVID, I was texting a few people in the OTT roster. I texted Paddy Morrow a couple times, being like, "Hey, you, is the school open yet? No. Hey, you, is the school open yet? No. Hey, you, is the school? I'll let you know when the school's open." I'm like, okay, whatever. And then one day, I was in Fibbers in Dublin in a pub, and I meet this guy with a Jordan Devlin shirt, Darren Cullen. And I go, I'm like, hey, you have Jordan Devlin shirt. Do you know how I can get into wrestling? And he's like, yes, I know the owner, Joe Cabray. Just go to his school, is brilliant. I went there, and the rest is kind of
As they
history,
say,
as they
history.
say. So yeah, it's been a weird one, but yeah, I was waiting for the school to open during the pandemic. I was checking the school's social medias. Was like texting as many people as I could that I knew of to get in, and finally they had the open day and I got in. And I to get back to the question, I never knew I wanted to become a wrestler, but I always knew I wanted to become a wrestler. If it sounds weird, but it's one of those things. I always had the thing. I used to wrestle with my best friends on the beach. I was like 10, 11, and we used to beat the shit out of each other on the beach, throw each other with people, with no people. We didn't care. And I just had a good feeling about it. It was fun. I was excited to go to the beach just to have those 10 minutes of beating the shit out of my friend, just throw him around and vice versa. And but it was too much. It was too much. It was kind of one of those things that, oh yeah, you want to become a wrestler? Haha, no, you need a real job, kind of thing. And the people I had around my whole life, have always been like that. It was always, oh yeah, you want to become a wrestler? Ha, no, seriously. So, I kind of always had this dream in my pockets, but it was very difficult to let it out fully, if that makes sense. So,
100%. Yeah.
so I don't know, everything just aligned at some stage. I didn't even realize when that happened. I just know that the day I was in the at the open day when the School of Irish Wrestling, great school by the way, the OTT school had the open day. I was just there looking at the ring, looking at the people, and I was like, wow, I did it. I did. It was a big victory. Just being there, just being there. The fact that I don't know, it seems so distant, and still I was just there looking at the ring, touching the ropes. I was the happiest person alive. So yeah,
100%.
that's how I got into wrestling,
It was
Very
just,
good.
into doing wrestling.
it was a small little way, but the thing is, that's what you need. That's just those little small goals to get you there and go, okay, I've done
Ah,
that.
but absolutely, it is all about the little goals. I'm a huge fan of little goals, of celebrating little victories. I think it's so important.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But I always, when I think about what I did in life in general, I'm like, oh my God, I saw a ring. I touched the ring. I've been in a ring. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's brilliant. Next month, I've been at a wrestling show and I scanned tickets for random people. I'm the happiest person alive. That's brilliant.
Yeah. And
And
then I suppose from starting in the school, how did you find that? How did you find actually getting into the school and then actually finally start training and working yourself up? Because everyone obviously
scary.
talks about it being tough, like your first bump and so on and so forth. But how did you find it?
So it was scary but exciting. I think I was hype for the first 2 3 months. I started wrestling. I was hyper all the time. It was just like exciting. It was new. It was different. Um, I still remember the first bump. I was like, ah, yeah, it's gonna be soft. Body slam. Boom. Fuck. That's a thing I remember. And I thought the ropes were light and all. I just go to run into them, and I bruised myself, and I had the bruise for a couple of days, and I was like, okay, this is tougher than I thought. Um, but past that period, it was I don't know how to describe it. It's cool, a cool feeling. It's a feeling that I've never felt before. It was exciting. It was cool. I was surrounded by a lot of people that were very similar to me, and even like it's an example. In Ireland, I worked in a restaurant, so I was still working in the restaurant, in the same restaurant I started in. When I came to Ireland. So, and I was always kind of different from the people working in the restaurants. They're like serious people working their job. Sorry, my English doesn't work. Um, Respectable people doing their job. And then there was me, and I was like, yeah, I like wrestling. I like this. I used to be, I don't know, very hyper in the restaurant. Started dancing and singing and doing all this stuff, and I was like feeling very different. And I was like, do I really belong here? Is this where what I want to do in my life? Is that, or will I ever find a place I feel I belong to? And then when I went into the wrestling school, I'm like, okay, I belong here. I do belong here. There are a lot of people that are as weird as I am, and that's cool. Weird in a positive way, in the most positive of ways possible. Um, I've met so many people in there. Besides the training itself, it's absolutely brilliant, and I'm blessed that I ended up in such a school. Because in the wrestling world, I think there are a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and that's sad. But I ended up in a school that took care of me and all of my friends, and it's great. It taught us a lot. Like if I today am the Sam and I do the shows and I have the character and whatnot, it's because our training was so good that it gave us all the tools we need to then go on and succeed. And I think the trainers did a great job. Joe Cabray, Paddy Morrow, Sean Guinness, Session Moth Martina, LJ Cleary. They're a great team of trainers, and all of them, every one of them is so different. Every one of them has its mentality. They have their own mentality on training, and they just formed us in the best way possible. And again, I'm proud. I'm proud of it. I'm proud because even I'm seeing all my friends. I'm seeing the Bittersweet Josh and the Kian Noonan and Boots Murphy, T1D, Dara, um, Noah Walker, and all these people. Sorry if I missed someone. My memory just doesn't work, but there is a really cool group. I think we started together, and it's cool to see how we progressed all together. And we couldn't be where we are if the training wasn't just spot on. So that's that. I can't be grateful enough for where I ended up.
That's one
And
thing I love to see, though. Like we had, as you know, we had Nathan Boots on there last month,
oh,
and
he's brilliant, Nathan. He's brilliant.
he literally was saying the same things you're saying now, praising the class with yourself, Cian Noonan, Blissy Josh, praising the hell out of you, all the rest bunch of friends and stuff like that. And I think it's not only like you guys saying it, we also see it when you guys post, all your stuff of like supporting each other on your Instagrams, your Twitters, even the after training thing. It's honest to God, it's something amazing to see. It's like you guys all helping each other, all supporting each other to get to that next step.
Absolutely. I think that's what wrestling is all about, though. It's having each other's back, because wrestling can be very selfish at times. Wrestling can be very competitive and selfish and whatever. You all heard the stories, but from my personal experience, there's nothing better than wrestling and the brotherhood that wrestling creates. Besides everything, it's a great thing. It makes you feel part of something, and it's great. It's just great. And I met my best friends in life through wrestling, and that tells you a lot about what wrestling is.
But so you get to the school, the Irish School of Wrestling, and then in comes the SEM.
Ah,
Where on earth did you come up with the SEM?
I don't know. I think the Sam came up with me. So I like to say this to I was on a podcast recently. It's still not out to this day, but it will be out soon. It's called Battles. We were talking about mental health and whatnot, and he asked me the same question. He was like something along the lines of how did you come up with the character? I think the Sam is more me than me, because me, Andrea, I have the barriers of, okay, I need to be a respectable citizen. The Sam doesn't.
No.
And it's the best thing ever. I have so much fun being that. Um, I don't know how it started. I do not know how the Sam started. I know that I did some theater beforehand, and I always loved theater, and I did various different things in my life. I did some photography, I did music, I did a bit of video and whatnot. And I was always so inspired by different things. So the Sam was just another experiment. I didn't want to be a wrestler, if that makes sense. I respect wrestlers and I love wrestling, but the Sam is in my little brain. I didn't want to be just a wrestler. I wanted to be something different, something more creative, something I could put my brain into and just be creative. Because without creativity, I don't function. I think my biggest thing is being creative. I have ADHD, and sometimes in order to distract myself to focus on something when I'm overwhelmed or where stuff happens around me, I need to think about something and be creative and kind of like get my brain to save me from whatever I'm feeling in that moment. The Sam wrestling is that. It's I put my brains into it, and weird stuff happens, but I have fun with it. So that's what matters, isn't it?
The main thing is having fun, and honest to God, it looks like you're having a lot of fun. Like especially if you just like think of like last month, I remember I was in work and I go on my Instagram and I see this video of you making an entrance on one of those old kiddie cars, dressed up obviously as a Santa Claus. And I went, where does he come up with half this stuff?
But that's the thing. That's the whole thing about the Sam. I don't think I am the Sam. The Sam here is something, and so, most times I am curious. Like the other day, I was talking with a friend, and he was like, "What's next for the Sam?" I'm like, "I don't even know what's next for the Sam. I'm scared to know what's next for the Sam because I honestly, genuinely don't know what's next. I just it honestly feels as if um I'm surprised as well to see what Sam comes up with, and that's the best part. I think it's the part I have the most fun with. It's just I one day I wake up and I'm like, oh, it would be very fun if I jumped from a window. How do I make that happen? And then I work my brain around. Oh, okay, jumping from a window. Let's do it. And that's how it starts. It just starts. I don't know. I wish I could explain it in some way. It just happens,
It
and
just happens. That's the best explanation you give. Like, honest to
I
God.
100%.
I go with the flow, and
Yeah.
I have fun with it, and that's it.
I think it's like
That's
even
very
like
cool.
what your mate's saying, like what's next for the sim? One day at a time. Do you know? That's all you're gonna worry about. Is just one day at a time.
Yeah, yeah. But I genuinely don't know what's next. I literally, some of my promos, the promos I did, are literally, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, it would be very funny if the Sam dressed up as a unicorn. And I tried it, and I was like, that's funny. I'll post it. It worked.
And they come across brilliant as well. Like,
With a unicorn, by the way. He had a unicorn while dressed up as a unicorn.
It's I stole that. That was my girlfriend's pajamas, and I saw it one day in the closet, and I was like, that would be very funny on me. She's like, don't even, and imagine the scene as don't even change of camera, the Sam in the costume, the whole costume smushed of paint and sweat and whatever. So she's a saint. She's a saint. She deals with a lot of this stuff. Like I kind of discovered I was doing a promo at the complex. Not a lot of time before it actually happened. I think the complex show was on a Saturday, on a Sunday, and on the Wednesday, I think I discovered. I don't remember specifically, but it was a couple days before, if not a week before, that I discovered. Oh, okay, I'm gonna be on the complex show. I'm gonna do a little poetry and whatever. And I was like, okay, I want to do it. I want to do my debut with style, kind of. I want to be different. So what do? I just dress up as the Sam and just go around town walking as the Sam. And a couple of my friends and my girlfriend came up with me, and it was the best thing ever. I have lots of fun. They kind of didn't. But yeah, that tells you that I'm grateful for the people I have around as well, because this couldn't work if I didn't have people that help me with it and pitch ideas. I have a good few people that I bop ideas with, and it's always cool to brainstorm and whatever. But again, I see myself, I see Andrea as one of the people that brainstorms ideas in the context, and then the Sam comes up with everything. And I do 101% believe this. I'm not saying this just to sound or something. I genuinely think the Sam is something, and I'm just curious to see what he comes up with.
Absolutely.
Sam is there, and you're just there for the ride.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm having lots of fun. Again, I'm there, first row, seeing what this maniac does. And it's fun. It's fun.
I suppose coming out of your training, then having your character ready, and you get ready for your first match.
Oof.
How was it getting ready for that, and even knowing that you were going to have in that match?
The first match, you never forget your first match, and I will never forget my first match. So it was after the complex thing. I wasn't expecting much after. It's I don't know. I'm very new. And as a very new person in wrestling, you just don't expect. You just do keep training, keep bopping ideas, and I didn't know how everything works. Um, all I know is from one day to another, I see the thing posted. Uh, so I've been asked, would you okay to be working a match? And I'm like, uh-huh. Okay. Next day, the Sammy D. Oh, what? And it was crazy. It was crazy. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was debuting, that it was happening. I thought it could happen in a lot more time than it just happened, and I couldn't believe it. And it was great. It was great. I was very at the start. I was very anxious. I was like, okay, I maybe haven't got it. I may have to train a bit more. But then I don't know. There's something. I started working on the promo. That was the Comic Con. I had one day wake up. Comic Con comics. Oh, the Sam could be a comic character, and started working on the project. Got excited. Got into the. I think the promos serve the purpose of exciting me for my own stuff. It's just like it's a very selfish thing. No, it is not, but like it almost serves that purpose. I really get excited when I create my promos. So I was there and thinking of, oh my god, I'm wrestling Sammy D. It's great. It's great. The day of, it just flew so fast. It flew incredibly fast. I was nervous, but as soon as I went there, as soon as I heard the music playing and the people cheering, it was just, I don't know, it was just one of those things that you can't forget. I came back to the backstage after the match. I just started crying. I couldn't keep everything. Um, a few people came up in the backstage. They told me, great job. They were very um, how do you say it in correct
Supportive.
English? Yeah, they were very supportive. They made me feel good about my match. And I don't know, there was just something that moment. It was another goal. It was another little milestone. I had my first match. Some very important people were there. My girlfriend was there. My best friends in wrestling were there, and you know, I was there. My creation was on a ring. That little idea I had more than a year ago of getting the face paint on, getting this coat, and being a bit weird. Ultimately, it worked. So that was a win for me. And I don't know. I just couldn't keep my emotions in tune, and toughen up, as some people may say.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
it's
know.
it's I got emotional, but that's what wrestling is to me. Wrestling is emotions. Like, I do not care. Like, people can say whatever they want about the topic of being emotional, crying, mental health, and whatever. I generally do not care. I'm proud of it. I'm happy I cried. It means that wrestling means something for me. I still have the butterflies thinking of that day, and I have the butterflies every time I think of wrestling, and every time I have to go and perform. It's just something that fills me up. It's a great feeling. So
It
that's that
just
that
sorry, it just shows how passionate you are. Like you got in the ring, you had your first match. That, like you said, another small goal. Like, who's not gonna get emotional over that? Like, that's another goal match.
it is, and yeah, that's the memory I have. Maybe the match itself, I received a really good super kick, and I never took a proper super kick before. My jaw was very, very it was very funny. Um, that's the Sam, Andrea becoming the Sam, thanks to the jaw just flapping away. That's when I discovered what wrestling was. But yeah, no, I'm very happy I went against a person like Sammy D. He's a great wrestler.
Oh,
He's
it
he
very much
knows what he's
is.
doing. He has a great brain. He trusted me in the ring. He gave me a lot, and I couldn't be happier with my debut. Obviously, if I can watch, I think a lot of wrestlers are like me. They can watch their matches 3 times and then they cringe. So I can't watch my match more than 3 times before cringing. So I watched it exactly 3 times. I remember it was cool. The super kick looked very cool. Blur, big blur. Keep going.
But you
it's
go from
definitely-
oh sorry,
Martin,
Kieran.
no.
You go from your debut with Sammy D. I think was your next match then at the school, the Irish School of Wrestling against Renzo.
Yeah, that Renzo's a bad person. Renzo's a really bad person. He's cacacciato, scemo cretino idiota. No, yeah, the school. I think to this day, that's my favorite match. No, not the school. The one I had with Renzo in OTT. It's a really close tie up with the one with Jay, but that's the match. I don't know. I just think the character Renzo Rose is so easy to hate. It's so easy to.
He actually owes us a haircut. The next time you see Renzo, he's got to cut it. It was one of the tweets. It was leading up to the Carlito match, and he put up like, "Oh, I'll beat him." I was like, "Oh, it was because at the Hard Knocks show, people were chanting, Italian Elvis."
Oh yes,
And
yes,
I said,
I remember. I was there for that.
I know.
I was one of the people chanting.
I was
actually convinced that it was you that started that chant, Sam. I wasn't sure, but I was convinced it was you.
Maybe.
I said to the lads because I was like, I was watching back the Hard Knocks show, and I was like, I think Sam was actually to the right hand side of me the whole time during the show, and I never noticed. But I put out
Andrea was.
Andrea was. But I put out a tweet. It's like, oh, is this going to be a blue Christmas for the Italian Elvis? And it goes, I will cut my hair just in spite. And I'm like, it's still always a haircut. Like,
oh, okay, yeah. I think you should remind them.
If we ever get Renzo on here, it's going to be cut live. I'm having him cut live.
Yeah, please. That'd be hilarious. I'd send you a $5 for that. Please do. And yeah, Renzo is a great professional. He's great. I may not be fully loving him as a I don't love Renzo Rose. I have contention with him. So
I mean, he did ruin your Santa Claus.
Yeah, he did ruin my Christmas. But it is what it is. It's ups wrestling. It's ups and downs, and
exactly.
It is what it is. But
so you're saying there's a possibility that we might see Renzo Rose versus the same at Scrapper Mania. Is that something that may happen?
I don't know. I'm fortunate enough if I end up on the next OTT show, let alone Scrapper Mania. I think it's a bit too soon for that. Again, the Sam is very new. I'm the new kid in town, so there's no expectation, no nothing. I'm happy if I end up having a little promo on a show, and someone comes and tells me to leave. Okay, I had my little moment. It will grow with time, I think. But at the moment, I have no idea whatsoever. I know as much as you do, so hopefully.
One day he shall get his revenge for ruining the Christmas of the Sim.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have my revenge. Yes, someday. Fingers crossed.
I am jealous of the person that got that little snowman that you had designed and threw it into the crowd. Very jealous of him that he was the one to catch it.
It's name. Oh my God, what's his name? They gave him a name. And it was very cute to see because they reposted it in the stories a good bit, and it was it's just a very cool thing. Like I created that little thingy, just threw it in the crowd, and it made someone's day better. So that's brilliant. The name of that thing is Leonard. So yeah, that's him. The tale of Leonard. Brilliant. I love it.
I'll go back to the question I was going to ask. So I was talking about, I was actually going to go into the School of Irish Wrestling show because that's the first show that we saw you in was School of Irish Wrestling versus Renzo Rose. And I honestly, I thought you were already like, well in a year because people were going mad for you that day.
I
People were
appreciate
chanting
that.
Sam. And so I was like, oh my God. But then just when you get in the ring, and obviously we all know Renzo comes out with his rose, and what does Sam have in the bag? But a thing of flowers, just to one up Renzo.
But I think that's the magic of the bag. The bag is always like that. I think that's why I have so much fun because the bag gives you freedom to go one up at the start of the match or whenever. You can create stories with that. So I think I really like the concept and I have lots of fun with it, with just coming up with ideas to put in the bag. And I'm glad. I'm honestly surprised that people like it. I'm surprised because I don't know. It seems too crazy for me. Still, I still
Yeah, I think we lost him a bit there.
like I raise my hand and people go oh, and I put it in the bag and they're like oh, and I take something out and they're like yay. That crazy.
My favorite
Uh,
one, definitely is. I think there was the Get 'Em All show was you and Renzo, and it was like I think two or three small tennis balls, and then the gigantic
giant
tennis
ball.
ball.
Yeah, that was uh, something I read it somewhere and someone was like you should get a big tennis ball. I'm like yes, I love it. And it happened. And again, I think OTT has beautiful fans. Like OTT has just beautiful fans. Ireland has beautiful fans. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. You can see it even in people in imports, in people that come from all over the world wrestling in Ireland. It's an atmosphere. You can feel that you're wrestling in Ireland when you're like a crowd like OTT's crowd is crazy. It's
It very
crazy.
much
Sometimes,
is.
sometimes I just stop and there was like I was watching recently and I just remember the scene. Sammy D and Barry Be Cool, the match and the crowd was just. And without that, there wouldn't be anything. So it's great to see. It's great to know that there are uh, great fans out there enjoying what we do and giving us 101% back. It makes it worth it at the end of the day.
The OTT fans are very, to be fair, just the Irish wrestling fans are very, very wild. Like, I'm only just discovering Irish wrestling now. I'm 24 years of age, had no idea this was around me until I'm myself and Carmo became mates. Like, so, like, pretty much like yourself and Nathan, you're pretty much the school I'm learning off of watching you
Nathan, I love Nathan.
guys.
I love you, Nathan. You're great. You're
It's
great. If
it's
you're
like
listening this, you're great.
it's
Sorry,
like it's like last time because he was praising yourself and Keane so much as well.
but it is like so about Kian. I praise Kian as well. He's so damn athletic. So there is this we in this group. I will call it our group because it's our little group. I started with them and I'll be bonded with them. And there's actually a little thing. Me, Kian, and Josh debuted 1 day apart from each other at the same Comic Con. So
Okay.
we started together, debuted together. So it's kind of like a little thing. I may not respect what Josh is doing now with Fabulous Nikki and all, but that's another story. Story for another day.
Sorry for another
Um,
day. Sorry
uh,
for a drink.
but there is this healthy competition between us, and it's the best thing ever. There is healthy competition because we always want to be better than each other. There's something I really appreciate about Keenan, and I'm really looking up to is athleticism. He just picks up stuff so easily. He just moves as he belongs in that ring. and that's something I don't have. I'm very sloppy in my movement and all, but again, everyone has its own strengths, and it's so cool that, you know, I'm able to praise that skill he has, and he's able to praise whatever skill he thinks I have. And it's very cool to have these people around. Like Nathan is great. He's I think he just has a talent in there. He has the size, he has just a good brain for it. He understands what we do, and he has the editing, he has the creativity, the ideas. He has just an aura against him. And, you know, again, as I told you at the start, I'm very proud of being part of that group, because we came in all together and we're so different. I was talking with, I think with Nathan, I was talking, and we are so different. There's Kian, he's the high flyer. Josh, he's the sexy muscle boy. Sorry. There's
Rightly
Nathan.
putting him over.
Huh?
Rightly putting him over there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, we're so different. You know, sorry again if I miss someone in the group. You know, I mean the whole group. It's just that's it. It's brilliant. It's fucking great. And I forgot the question. Sorry, I just.
Oh no, you're grand. I'm gonna ask you this one anyways.
I'm mumbling.
So like you earlier on, you had spoken about like coming over. You wanted to come over to OTT because you could see all the people coming in. And when we had Foxy on, you know, Foxy talked about, you know, one thing he wishes people would understand is, you know, don't get stuck in the same place, because you want to learn from people who are at the top as well. And you have so many people coming in. Like we have Eddie Kingston and John Moxley at Scrappermania. But even I think was it this week or last week? Jordan Devlin, JD McDonough. You got to like train and learn
crazy
from JD McDonough. Like
it's crazy. I was eating my little pasta the day before, and all I know is that there's a little post in the School of Irish Wrestling group. Lads, tomorrow there's Jordan Devlin taking a class. Enjoy.
What?
Okay, brilliant, amazing. And as Nathan was saying, we on our second month, I don't remember exactly how much it was. So we started on the 25th of September 21. And I think at the start of December, Will Ospreay came for a seminar. And I was just there like, it's my second month wrestling, and Will Ospreay is just there teaching. We had Scotty 2 Hotty coming for another seminar. And again, I was like, oh my God, that's Scotty 2 Hotty teaching us stuff, telling us stories, and he's human. He's as human as us. And it's crazy. It's crazy the opportunities that, you know, Irish wrestling offers as just in general. Like so many good names that come and go from Ireland that you're able to learn from. It's crazy.
No, it
suppose-
absolutely. Oh, sorry, Carmo.
No, I was just going to say there, I suppose sticking on the name of like people that have also come over to Irish wrestling and people that have come to the school and done seminars and stuff like that. Is there anyone that you want to see come over to OTT or maybe to a seminar or anything like that?
Come over to OTT. I missed Cara Noir's seminar. I was in work that day, and they told me it was the perfect seminar for me. Like the people that went there, they're like, okay, that was the perfect seminar for you. So I respect the work Cara Noir is putting out, and he's great. So I think that's a seminar I would love to attend. But just in general, whatever seminar is out there, it's knowledge, is different ideas. It may not be, you know, maybe I want to go to seminars that are not from people I like, from my favorite wrestlers, just to understand what ideas they have, what's different between me and them, and what can I learn from their perspective. The best seminar I've been part of, Charlie Sterling. It's crazy, but so Charlie Sterling saw me in ring. He told me, okay, you're your style is different from the regular technique. And that day he destroyed me. Like, destroyed me in what sense? He has such a different view for wrestling from what I had to that day, and it just made me realize so many little flaws I had in my game, so many things that I was like, oh, they're okay, they were not okay. And I'm grateful for that seminar, because that made me change my perspective. And I could have never, if you asked me that question before the Charlie Sterling seminar, I would have said, oh yeah, I would love a seminar with, I don't know, again, a Will Ospreay, a big, huge WWE name, or something like that.
100%.
And Charlie Sterling just came over, and we were working on some pretty basic stuff, and I figured out that I need lots of work on that, and it inspired
Yeah.
me to, get better at that stuff. So you never know until you try it. So that's the beauty of wrestling as well. Everyone has its own idea, and I have my own idea of wrestling, and other people may have a totally different approach. And that's the good thing about wrestling. I can be whatever I want, you can be whatever you want, and we can coexist in the same universe without people thinking, oh no, that's out of place.
No, 100%. Now, I know that it's a wrestling podcast, but I wanted to bring this up as well. And you don't have to go into too great detail, because obviously, as you mentioned, it's an episode of a podcast coming out. I think it's the 16th. I could be wrong. But you were talking about mental health and how big of a person you are on mental health. So as I said, don't have to go too much. Just obviously don't want to spoil the next podcast. But like, where has like the whole mental health thing kind of come in?
I'm very happy you asked this question. This is a question that makes me very happy. So I'll just tell you a little story I told on the Battles podcast. It's gonna be out on the 17th of December on Spotify. I'll just tell you this little story. It's a very, very personal story, but I feel like sharing it because I don't know, it's just a story I like, and it tells you why I'm so big in mental health. Um, I grew up, my family is not the most compact of families. I grew up having a memory of my household being totally intact, everything is perfect. And it was Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, wrestling, SmackDown was playing on TV. And that memory is a peaceful memory. It's a memory I still have up to this day, and I still cling on to those type of emotions. Stuff happened in my life. That piece got broken more than once, and I got through different ups and downs. I don't regret anything, because I turned out to be the person I am today, and I'm proud of being who I am, with all the flaws and with all the baggage I may come with me. I have recently been diagnosed with ADHD and complex PTSD, which are not easy by themselves, and when they coexist they can be tough. But to close up, what I was trying to say is wrestling is my escape. Wrestling is what I cling on to when I think of peace, when I think of what makes me happy. And I've been fortunate, so fortunate, that in my life I found something as comforting as wrestling is for me when life is tough, because sometimes life gets tough for me. I get overwhelmed, and I need a little escape. Wrestling has become my escape. Wrestling has become the little thing. When I'm stressed in work, I can think of wrestling and I calm down a bit. When something bad happens, and some days I wake up and I don't really want to wake up, I think of wrestling, and it puts a smile on my face. It gives me that thing that I'm like, okay, I do belong somewhere. I'm good at something. I I belong in there. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's why I'm so big on mental health as well, because I think every person has something, some value, some worth, no matter how bad life is, no matter how tough things are, no matter how many people told you you suck in life, and no matter how many situation situations put you in the spot of telling yourself you suck. um I've been fortunate that I found wrestling as my escape, and wrestling as my um just that little piece I cling on to. But anything, my wrestling could be anything. For you it could be music, for you it could be arts, for you it could be sports, it could be friends, a certain activity. So my goal in life is obviously make a living out of wrestling, because I like it. It's a thing I genuinely like. But more importantly, I want to use the platform that wrestling gives me to dig more into this aspect of mental health, because it's very taboo. It's still very a thing that's viewed in a certain way. And if more people come up and are open about their mental health, the stigma can only get lowered and lowered and lowered with time. And that's the objective. The objective is to see more people talking about their problems, to be more open. The fact that I'm going through hard times doesn't make me a lesser person than you. We're exactly the same. I just have more challenges, and I face these challenges in my own way, and that doesn't make me any less than anybody else. So that's why I'm very big on mental health, because I think everyone has a story, everyone has his challenges, and everyone in good or bad is brave for facing those challenges, and there's nothing wrong. So that's the message I try to spread. In short, it wasn't very short, but it just made you understand what mental health means for me, what wrestling means for me, and how these two things tie up really closely together. So hopefully, fingers crossed, my plans and ideas will come up. I have a little mental health project coming up soon. Hopefully, by by June 23, it's gonna come out, and um, it's gonna start spreading the message I want to spread. It's a very important for me. It's a very, very important topic. So even if there is anyone listening to the podcast that's not in the best mood, everything is gonna be all right.
Love it. Absolutely loved that answer. Because like when I saw on your story you were putting that up, I went, oh God, I've got to ask about that now, because I'm very big about it as well, you know. And that's one reason, like I was saying to the lads when we first started doing interviews, like I'd love to get, a lot of like yourself, Nathan, Keane, all that, because everyone's, as you said, everyone's got a story, and everyone wants to tell their story, you know. So get like I want to. I'm trying to like have here. Bring everybody on, tell your story. But the fact that you're so open, like, look, I'm going to be open. I'm going to use this now for mental health, spread awareness, to help people. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I appreciate that. I again, I don't. This is a very personal topic, and I'm learning how to spread these ideas. I'm becoming more open. I've always had the little stigma of, oh no, they're gonna think, oh, he's doing it for self promotion or whatever.
Like talking to
Um,
myself.
but at the end of the day, I decided to take the risks and the responsibilities of talking about mental health, in good or in bad. I believe in this, and I think there's nothing better than a true belief, and I defend my belief no matter what anyone can say. So it's big for me, and if it can help even one person, like if a 9-year-old me listen to someone talking about mental health, I probably could be a few steps ahead of where I am now. So if I can be that person, if I can talk about my stories. I have ADHD. I'm no different from you. I'm weird at times. I'm a bit hyper, a bit distracted the other times, but doesn't make me any difference. Everyone has its own challenges. You may have a physical challenge, you may walk funny, I behave funny. That's it.
Every here's one thing. Like every time, like my mates always go, God, you're so like, they always go like, oh, you're so odd or so weird. I'm like, yeah, but like if I was normal, I'd be boring. Always
Yeah.
just embrace like the opposite thing you have, because you know what people might say, well, that's weird about you. That's the fun part about you. That's
Absolutely
the
makes you,
difference.
it makes you unique. That's listen, there's no such thing as normality. We're all weird in our own things. Everyone has its own, skeleton in the closet, and it's good. It's what makes us different. If everyone was perfect, there would be I again, life is a roller coaster. A roller coaster wouldn't be fun if it was just, a line just going.
Let's go
It would
straight on.
be, yeah, it would
Yeah.
just be, yeah, okay, fun. It's a roller coaster. There are ups, there are downs, there, weird moments and serious moments and whatever. So, I'm glad to be who I am. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes, I'm like, oh yeah, I wish I was this. I had money, I had fame, I had whatever, the brain tells you. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy to be who I am. I'm in a good, position. I'm surrounded by great people. I'm doing what I love to do, and not everyone can say these things. It's very important to be grateful for what we have. It's very important because you never know. You never know. And being grateful is the first step just for happiness in general. Just stopping for a second and instead of thinking, oh shit, I could have this, and that. If you stop for a second and think, okay, today I had a half decent day. At least it wasn't the worst day ever. At least I didn't get hurt. At least the people I love are still there, are still, in good conditions. And today I still can say I love you to the people I love. And that's what matters, I think. Sorry
One
for the rant. Like
Oh, you're
I don't want
grand.
to
No, you're
No,
grand. Like I
no.
literally, I was gonna give you all of that talk about it, but I had some in my head. Oh yeah, like say about like being grateful there. I saw one really good quote now that even I've taken on. I think I saw on TikTok was that we all get up in the morning, we all go, oh, I've got to go to work. You know, I saw TikTok. The guy goes, one way you'd be grateful about that. Don't say, oh, I have to go to work. I get to go to work because
Yeah.
other
I read it
people
too. I read it too somewhere. I read it too somewhere.
other people aren't as lucky as to have jobs and stuff like that. So just I get to go to work today. I get to earn a
Yeah,
bit of money. That's one grateful
absolutely.
thing to wake up for. To wake up to every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. We all obviously have our ups and downs. Some people, have to power through a job they don't like, and bless them. There are a lot of people that we have to make a living in a way or another. That's why, like, I know so many people that have to make a living. They're kind of not forced, but in some senses, they can't just quit their job and just go become a ballerina. So uh, uh, that's why every now and then I just stop for a second and I think I'm building the blocks to live my dream life, to wrestle as a job someday. And that's a lot. So I'm grateful for it. I'm happy. At the end of the day, um, I'm happy. I go to sleep uh, with my peaceful brain and being happy to be, the Sam, the weird character, face paint, whatever. It's a cool feeling.
Exactly, and that's all you need. It's just to be happy. And again, if people want to hear more about it, was it January 17th?
It's January 17th. Yeah, I opened up a bit more about just about how I discovered the ADHD and the complex PTSD, how I coped with it, and how wrestling came into play, and how it changed everything. And it's I don't know. And I always like to talk about wrestling and mental health together. I think that's what my mission is. If everyone has a mission, my mission is to kind of spread this type of message. That's I think that now to answer a previous question, a question you asked me beforehand. That's what part of the Sam is as well. That's how I came up with the character as well. It was a thought about mental health as well. How can I represent that in some way as well? Um, Being maybe a bit weird, a bit out of place, a bit, you know, how can I translate that into a character? And maybe someone someday can see themselves into that and be like, okay, that's for me. So that's part of it. That's not obviously how it was born, but that's a little part of the thought process behind the face
It's
paint and the and
the
just
craziness of the set.
throwing mannequins out of windows and riding lawnmowers.
Eating Grinches.
Eating Grinches, eating Santa Clauses.
Yes, chomp chomp.
But no, like people can go give that podcast listen as well. And actually, it'll be out already by the time this one goes up by
Probably,
Christmas.
Yeah.
But
It's
definitely
called
go check that out.
It's the Battles podcast, and I'll post it anywhere I can because again, I believe in these things. So you may listen to it and ignore it and whatever. I do believe in it, so I talk about it. Deal with that.
Or get eaten by the Sam.
Oh,
Or get eaten by the Sam.
oh yeah, I don't know what that crazy maniac does, but yeah, maybe.
Carmo, I've kind of taken over everything. Have you got a question for?
I suppose actually, thank you for actually sending that message or for putting out that message. I think, especially now in the time of what everything's going on with the world, we need more people like you spreading messages like that, which is greatly appreciated.
Please don't say that. Please
No,
don't say we
100%
need more
genuinely.
people like you.
It's incredible. Like
It makes me feel weird. I don't know. Again, I just like to spread this message. It's my belief. So I don't like when people say, "Oh, we need more people like you," whatever. It's my opinion. It's nothing but an opinion, and I believe in what I'm saying. It's my opinion. I leave it on the open to people to catch it. If you agree, brilliant. I'm glad I can open this topic for people to talk about it. If you don't agree, I respect that as well. Everyone has its own beliefs, everyone has its own things. For some people this may be too much, some sorts of self publicity or whatever. I respect that too. I just will keep talking about it because I believe in it, and that's it. Thank you though. Thank you. I appreciate it. I genuinely do appreciate it, but it goes beyond, if there should be more people like me, less people like me, it's more, let's be kind to each other. Let's be compassionate with each other, to each other. It's easy to, wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, it could be better. It could be that. I could be that. Focus on what you bring to the table in life, and you live a way happier life. And yeah, that's it.
just focus on one day at a time. Don't focus
Absolutely.
on, oh God, where am I going to be next year, or how, one day at a time.
Absolutely.
Otherwise people are just going to stress themselves out.
Yeah.
But any question there, Carmo?
I'm just going to cut it back to the wrestling just a small bit, just to get a kind of
I love wrestling.
Yeah. What is the goal for 2023?
2023, the goal. So the goal is to go on the moon, to eat a full kebab. No, seriously, I don't know.
I was just
I do
about to
not-
ask which kind of kebab.
I don't know. No, it's a difficult question. I have high expectations for this 2023, but if I talk about it, I feel like the mystique and the aura about these ideas will disappear. So everyone says, oh, this is going to be my 2023. So I'll just say it's not going to be my 2023. just for fun. But no, I don't know. I just want to keep having fun. That's the main thing. I want to keep having fun, do what I do, wrestle as much as I can, meet people, spread messages, spread awareness on mental health, and just taking it day by day, and just having fun. Wrestling is fun. It's all about having fun in there. And I don't know. That's it. That's as much as I can come with.
That's a great answer.
Perfect answer.
Absolutely perfect answer. But I'll say leave it off in the mental health, because I think that's an absolutely brilliant way to end off the episode. Because again, I'm just mad about, as you were, like you said, like wrestling is one of your happy things. For me, like gaming and wrestling, I will talk about gaming,
Yeah,
I will talk about wrestling all day long, and that's my happy place. Do you know?
exactly. There are many people, many fans that I know that, wrestling is the same thing for them. It's just I was fortunate and to end up in wrestling. I was interested in the performing parts of wrestling. Some people are very happy to be just on the other side. So that's cool. They found their own thing. So, but there's always something. There's always something. So it's very easy to just fall into the apathy of, oh, there's nothing left for me to do or to say or to give in life. There's always something. There's always a little outlet. We just got to discover it and put a bit of effort and challenge ourselves to get into that aspect and uh, make it our lives.
Exactly. But Sam, thank you so much for coming on here and talking a bit of
Thank you.
wrestling with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This talk. I wasn't expecting to end it up talking about mental health as much as we did, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the
No
interest.
problem at all.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
thank you everyone for listening and for having me on the podcast. I am glad some people are interested in these messages. And again, it's very important. Take care of yourselves, whoever is listening this. Take care of your brains. If I know you, if I don't know you, it doesn't matter. Just take care of your brains. Wake up. Uh, don't think of what's negative or what sucks in life. Just take a second, breathe, be compassionate to yourself. We're humans. We're allowed to, not be perfect. And that's it. Thank you for having
love
me.
it.
I really appreciate this.
No problem at all. Do
This
you wanna do you wanna plug any social medias?
I just have you can see what I post on my little Instagram. I'm not very active on any other social medias but Instagram. So it's Instagram at Andreas Senchuk or the Sam. Up to you.
Whichever you want to search up there. But again, no,
And and another social media you can check is basically the Never Gonna Give You Up link, just that, and you go listen Never Gonna Give You Up because it's a cool meme and it makes me laugh.
that's the best way. That might be the outro song now this week. Just
Oh,
just
please.
for you.
Oh, if you do that for me, I'm gonna vibe so much.
Do you know what?
I'm gonna wait to re-listen this podcast just for that.
I should just upload the podcast twice. Just one of them is actually just they think it's the episode, but it's just that song for 3 minutes.
Please. That's brilliant. I love life now.
Again,
Lads, thanks for having me. It was
no
great
problem at all.
chatting
Thank
to you.
you.
It was
No
great
problem at
chatting
all.
to you.
Thank
And
you for
thanks
coming
everyone
on.
for listening.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Sam. Thank you again so much.
Where is he? Where is he?
I don't want to know because I'm afraid he might come out and jump or something.
Maybe. But we'll
Well,
see. Keep your eyes peeled in 2023, though.
Exactly. But we wish you
Look
well in
forward to it.
2023. As you said, just have fun with it. Have absolute fun with the rest of the year, and best of luck to yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But with that, Carmo, do you want to do our absolutely amazing outro that we do for everybody to hear?
So that has been it for this week's episode of the 5 Marks Podcast. Thank you very much, then, for coming on. Martin, do you have any final words just in case?
I don't know. Not with this one.
Well,
Look after your mental health. That's
100%.
the best way to end this.
100%. Well, we are officially ding, ding, done.
And that's our amazing outro.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant.